Hey there, everybody. Reed here at Orchestra Farm. Today I want to chat with you about economics. That's right, great subject matter. In particular, about gifting. I love permaculture. I think it's a great design science. And it really looks to nature for its answers. And so, in the form of economics, I look to nature and I say, okay, nature, what you got? And I see a lot of gifting happening. And it's a pretty beautiful and fantastical thing. You might ask, how does this work? I mean, like, on the plant level, you just think of the overabundance that generally plants create in the form of their fruits or seeds. And that's because we know other creatures are going to eat them. That's an economic system there. We also know about their exudates that function under the soil. There's another system of exchange happening. And really, like, economics is a system of exchange. How do we exchange things with each other? I look in the animal kingdom and I see other animals eating other animals, good old carnivores out there. And lots of herbivores are also carnivores if you actually pay enough attention to them. And I see all that as different forms of gifting. It might not look the same. In fact, it looks a lot different a lot of the time. You might think, oh, but some animals run away and whatever. It's kind of a game. Animals like playing games. Eating ought to be a bit of a game. With that, though, humans have gotten into like our, grain-based societies during the agricultural revolution that took place a heck of a long time ago. And once we started to have surpluses of things to save, our economic systems got all wonkadoodle. And because, like, if you think about gold, what's its actual value? If other than people want it because it's gold at this point, its actual value is like as a conductor, as something to make jewelry from. If you're not actually using it for those things, the only reason why it's a store of value is because other people think it's important. Now, what do we think is important? I think my time is basically the most valuable thing that I have. And so when I exchange my time for money or to be in this garden farm space, I am exchanging my time for the experience as well as whatever things come of it. And I like to not just label the money that comes from something. That's what I'm getting out of the experience. If I'm not experiencing some joy from it, I gotta really question if that's worth my time and energy. Because otherwise, I'd rather be spending my time with my family. I've got 2 kids. I love spending time with them. I really like spending time with plants. They teach me so much, so often, and I consider that to be a valuable exchange, even if I didn't get food and medicines and beauty from them. It's fun. Sometimes I've gone out and gotten enough of a material to create something, so they become some kind of a textile. That's freaking amazing. There's so many ways to look at value. Spending time with older people is a gift, and when I do that, I often get a lot extra out of it, and there's a reciprocity that happens there. There's a back and forth. There's also the notion of like paying it forward. Sometimes I'll just do good things because I know that like putting good energy out there into the world will come back around. That's also functioning off of a gifting mentality. What do you do in your life that's a gift? And let's be mindful that like a gift is not thinking to yourself, what am I going to get out of this later? That's not a gift, okay? If you're like having some ulterior motive that you are doing this one thing to create another thing, that's not actually gifting. Mind you, like when I'm planting my farm, I am thinking I plan to get a bunch of food out of this. At the same time, I kind of run this with the notion that like, I don't know what kind of year it's going to be. Maybe I won't have as much basil as I want to really stack my freezer with all the basil I can eat all winter into the spring until basil's ready again. Well, it's good to be let go of that idea. It's good to let go of the idea that like it'll be a bumper crop of tomatoes, that there's no disease that's going to come through and just wipe them out all of a sudden, and maybe I don't have enough tomatoes to get through my winter. Because personally, I like growing food to provide for sustenance throughout the year. That just seems like a lovely reciprocal aspect to the giving that happens between myself and the plants. I nurture them, they nurture me. a life of nurturing each other is a beautiful life. And so, in the same way that, like, if you're not just sending your parents off to the old age home, they, generally speaking, and I hope that this is true for you, put a lot of energy into bringing you up, giving you the cultural foundation that you have to be a good person in the world. And if that is the case, I hope that later on you have the ability to care for them. I'm in a different country than my parents, so it doesn't seem like that's going to be highly likely. But that's a loss for me. And, in that way, a bit of a loss for them. And sometimes you lose on gifts. You give a bunch over here and you give a bunch over there, and it doesn't come back around. But in that, there's a Bjork song, All Is Love, or something like that. She talks about how you give love in certain places, and then it's surprising because it comes back in some totally different place. So just being mindful that just because you're doing one thing and you're thinking you're getting a particular thing from it, if it doesn't come from there, open yourself to all the possibilities of different places that things can come from, so that you're not so closed off to it just being one particular way. Because the universe seems to have a fantastical way of changing up and surprising us with how things happen. With that, it would mean the world to me if you would subscribe to this page, like, place a comment. Is there anybody actually listening to this? I mean, to my couple viewers out there, hi, I miss you guys. I'd like to see you IRL, in real life. Stuff is stupid, but in real life is fantastic. I would love to just grab a tomato with you and share it. It's really fun to do that in person. If you're looking for, some comfrey roots so you can propagate it, comfrey's freaking amazing, let me know. I'd be happy to send you some. Anyway, with that, Marine Richard, conductor of Orchestra Farm here, hoping you all have too much fun.